I'm Phil Tank with the Saskatoon Star Phoenix.
And I'm Arthur Whitecrummy with the Regina Leader Post.
And we're here today to talk about what happened this week in the pandemic response by the province. I thought it was a pretty interesting week on two fronts, both the release of the updated plan to head back to schools and some municipal leaders calling for a province-wide mandatory mask bylaw.
Yeah, those were certainly the two highlights for me as well, Phil. And I guess what I was most interested in with regards to the adjustments to the Safe Schools plan from the province was how minor they were. It was really just giving school divisions the option of introducing mandatory masking policies if they so choose, but with no alterations to any other aspects of the plan, really. It just gave schools the option of moving to phase two on their own accord rather than waiting for directions from the province's chief medical health officer. So, I mean, what did you make of that?
So yeah, I thought it was interesting because presumably school divisions always had the ability to make masks mandatory as part of their reopening plan. This just sort of set out what the province thinks, grades 4 to 12, should or will have to wear masks in common areas and on school buses. But still leaves a lot of questions unanswered. Obviously, it again leaves it up to the school divisions to decide what they're going to do. No province-wide rules.
Yeah, and it didn't really answer a lot of the criticisms that we've seen cropping up on social media and from groups like the Saskatchewan Teachers Federation. What they've been focusing on is more funding, smaller class sizes, and ventilation. None of that is really addressed thus far in the province's plan. How long do you think that the province can continue to ignore those issues, and is that mobilization ever going to go away as a result?
Well, it's interesting. The other, yeah, I don't know. We're coming up on 2 weeks before the start of school, so there's not a lot of time to make a lot of changes. The contingency fund is also quite interesting, right? The province has said for some time there's a contingency fund that's available if people want to apply for it, but the school divisions don't seem to know how they apply for it. So is the fund really there for them? Lots of questions that are still remaining about this plan.
Absolutely. So how much of a factor do you foresee this playing in the upcoming election campaign? Do you think that this back to school plan and its success is likely to be the defining issue?
Yeah, so this could play a really big role in the election if it's done wrong. We've seen places like Israel that reopened schools without a sufficient plan, and had a bit of a disaster there. So it's very key because so much in the economy and the community depends on schools functioning, right? People being able to go to work and that sort of thing, and demand for childcare and that sort of thing. Lots depends on this plan being done right.
And of course, the other issue that you raised, Phil, that happened this week was the two major cities floating the idea of having mask bylaws. What is the significance of that, and what do you think that it means in terms of the province's plan? Because I know that both mayors were saying that ideally they would like to see this kind of thing take place on a provincial level.
Yeah, and it's interesting that if you look over to Alberta, that declined to implement a province-wide mask policy. A lot of their cities, big cities like Edmonton, Calgary, smaller cities like Canmore and Banff, have implemented a mandatory mask bylaw. You have to wear masks when you go into stores or any other public place indoors. So I do wonder whether the province is starting to feel pressure on that front, whether the whole school reopening is starting to weigh on them a little bit, and whether this mandatory mask policy, whether it would be fine if it's just done by done on a municipality by municipality basis, or whether they want to do something wider, because the premier hasn't ruled it out. He said it's a possibility.
Absolutely. Well, we'll have to continue to stay tuned on both of those issues, see if there's any major announcements in the week ahead. Thanks so much for talking to me, Phil. It's been a pleasure as always. And for those looking for further coverage on back to school and masking and everything COVID-19, please go to leaderpost.com or to thestarphoenix.com. Thanks so much.
Thanks.